I could be inclined to watch Brandon Buckingham is a Hypocrite by Twisted World. I've seen some Brandon Buckingham videos, and he usually does like public stuff. Like he did like a lot of like, I'm going to the gathering of the Juggalos or a furry convention or a Trump rally or stuff like that. Sort of like Channel 5 type shit. And then he also did some stuff with Zillakami, the rapper. That was one of the first collabs I saw from him. I don't know if you guys know, but that guy ended up being a real piece of shit. But now he does like hood vlogs and shit. I like Twisted World. We'll see what his opinions of Brandon Buckingham are.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
If I agree or disagree.
Again, and today I want to take a little bit of a break from my usual type of content to discuss a recent situation that took place between two hip-hop influencers going by the name of DJ Akademiks and Brandon Buckingham. Now, if you're at all familiar with this situation, you know I'm pretty late to the party on this one, but I promise you that I do feel like I have something new to add to the discussion, and this video is not just going to be a retread of everything that's already been said. But before we get into the new stuff, I do want to quickly recap everything that's going on to catch people up to speed in case you haven't been following this entire time. So I'm going to start off with DJ Akademiks. And honestly, if you've been watching my videos for any period of time, I'd be pretty surprised if you didn't know who this guy was. On top of that, if you're tapped into hip-hop in any capacity, you're probably aware of this guy's existence in one way or another. Because this guy is very controversial online, with him getting his start by creating a YouTube channel called The War in Chirac.
Oh! Ew! What the fuck? What is his name? DJ Akademiks, aka The Late Night Creep. Clearly he's been hacked. DJ Ak would not write that.
On all of the gang activity in Chicago at the time. This was a very successful formula that ended up getting him over 300,000 subscribers and definitely got him a voice in the world of hip-hop, but at the same time, a lot of people really didn't respect what he was doing with his content. Some people believed that he was actually increasing the crime rate in Chicago by reporting on this stuff, exacerbating gang beef, snitching on people and getting them in trouble, and sometimes even getting people. Now, I'm not really sure about all that. I'm not from Chicago, so I can't really say, but it seems like DJ Akademiks didn't want to continue to make this type of content forever because eventually he would shift into more mainstream hip-hop. This would lead him to joining a podcast known as Everyday Struggle, where him and Joe Budden would go back and forth on several different topics. Now, Joe Budden, if you don't know him, he's basically a washed-up rapper that eventually became a podcaster. You don't really need to know the history of all of that.
I saw him in a Prize Picks ad on Twitch today.
Basically, this guy was an old head who really didn't like the new generation of hip-hop. Meanwhile, DJ Akademiks would champion and fight for the new generation of hip-hop with people like Lil Yachty, XXXTentacion, basically all of those SoundCloud guys. And for a time, this really helped to save his reputation and paint him in a lot more of a positive light, with many of the new generation respecting him
and some even
looking up to him. But as time went on, he would once again begin to report on hip-hop, and this is when things started to go south because he would get into several beefs with many different rappers, with him actually starting quite a few of them. If you've watched any of my recent videos, DJ Akademiks has popped up several times for starting beefs with people like Young Bands, D Savage, Thousand Band Fani, basically doing it just because they said something against him that he didn't like. It started off kind of petty at first, but once DJ Akademiks really started to get quite a bit of money, he decided he didn't really need anybody or anything, and this is when he really started to crash out in a big way. On top of that, you throw in the fact that he's one of the biggest Drake fans on the planet, as well as being best friends with Tekashi 6ix9ine, and you have a recipe for somebody who's going to have a lot of enemies. Now, you may think me discussing his entire career is kind of irrelevant to the situation at hand, but I do kind of want to set up the fact that a lot of people don't like Akademiks for many different reasons. He's caused damage to so many different people's careers at this point that people have been waiting for him to slip up and fall himself, and that eventually did happen in 2025 because DJ Akademiks actually ended up talking to a 15-year-old boy in a very inappropriate way. Now, to give you a little bit of context, this kid is apparently a moderator on Black Boy Max's stream, and somehow Akademiks and one of his buddies ended up talking to this kid on a Discord phone call, and Akademiks started saying some pretty out-of-pocket stuff, like asking the kid if he had a girlfriend, asking the kid if he had ever hooked up with said girlfriend, asking the kid if he wanted to have sent to his house, basically a lot of really inappropriate stuff to say to a kid that's that young. And to make matters even worse, the kid kept asking DJ Akademiks to chill over and over again, meaning that this 15-year-old boy has a lot more sense than this 30-plus-year-old man. Now, I am going to show a clip of this for context, but I'm sorry if it looks a little bit weird. I'm going to try to keep the kid's face completely concealed because after all, this is already embarrassing enough for him, and he doesn't really need to be drug out farther by appearing in my video.
Oh, if Max had a sister and she threw you the box, would you smash her?
He already has a sister.
Alright, she threw you the box, would you smash
her? Yeah, this was like a big drama a couple weeks ago. Freaking DJ Akademiks was getting very canceled for talking to this kid who was a moderator in Black Boy Max's stream, but also like a young kid who doesn't fucking, I mean, it just doesn't matter. He was making inappropriate jokes, and that was the story basically, and only a couple people came out to defend him, really. I don't know how he's doing like now, but
no, because
I'm sure you've heard about it a little bit somewhere.
She's above 18.
What I mean? Okay, what does that mean?
It will be grooming.
It'll be what?
Grooming.
That has nothing to do with you.
Sit down, yo. 15. I hope you know that, bro. You're
Oh,
gonna
you get women, bro.
I'm not gonna. Yo, bro, you're trying to put me on a case. You're trying to put them on a case.
So there you have it, guys. A 30-plus-year-old man talking to a 15-year-old boy in a pretty inappropriate way. I mean, DJ Akademiks should definitely know better than to talk to somebody that age in that type of way. It should be common sense, but I feel like Akademiks probably was drunk, and that's one of his greatest downfalls. So with a clip like this circulating online, it wasn't long before DJ Akademiks started to catch quite a bit of heat, and to be honest with you, he definitely deserved it. Although I do feel like some people took it a little bit far, but that makes sense when you consider the fact that, like I said before, a lot of people already don't like DJ Akademiks for different reasons. But for the most part, a lot of the really out-of-pocket claims seem to come from DJ Akademiks' comment section, which is always going to be completely disgusting. That's the type of fan base that he cultivated. It wasn't really anybody all that important. Well, that was all until Brandon Buckingham ended up getting involved in the situation, putting out an over hour-long video called "I Hate DJ Akademiks, Grooming, Lies, and..."
Okay, I actually did watch this video. It was when I was flying back to Minnesota from Las Vegas, and I watched it on the plane. It was a friggin' hour long, and I don't... So, I mean, I'll have context at least. I guess that's all that means.
Manipulation. And honestly, grooming is a crazy claim to make. I mean, don't get me wrong. What DJ Akademiks did is definitely very gross. He doesn't seem to have a very good boundary when he talks to younger people, but grooming is a pretty big claim to make. I feel like you would need a little bit more evidence than one phone call to prove that DJ Akademiks was actually grooming this kid, because usually grooming takes place over the course of time. It doesn't happen all at once. But let's give Brandon the benefit of the doubt, because maybe he knows something that we don't. Well, he actually does know something that we don't, but it has nothing to do with DJ Akademiks. Because throughout the course of the video, he basically just plays the same clips that everybody else has been playing in their own videos, talks about the same talking points. The only difference is that he seems very angry right from the start.
35-year-old DJ Akademiks, whose real name is Livingston Allen, has been busy up late at night on Discord, speaking to 15-year-olds, asking them provocative questions. Now, beyond this perverse grooming disaster that little Livingston has brought upon himself,
which does make sense. I mean, the video is called "Why I Hate DJ Akademiks," so I guess the main topic of the video is going to be about why Brandon personally doesn't like him. But I feel like it's important to put your feelings to the side when discussing a topic like this, because after all, it's pretty serious to call somebody a groomer. It's a really big claim, and if you're going to come in already angry, you're probably going to be bad faith. But at the same time, I do respect Brandon for actually claiming that he doesn't like Akademiks in the video and the reason behind it, because Anthony Fantano ended up doing a pretty similar video where he doesn't talk about why he doesn't personally like Akademiks and tried to play it completely straight. But at the same time, I feel like if you already dislike somebody going into allegations, you're not going to look at it with a critical eye, and you're simply going to try to attack them as hard as you can. And when it comes to something like that, I really don't think that it should be used as another weapon to attack somebody you dislike.
Now, beyond this perverse grooming disaster that little Livingston has brought upon himself, I have a personal beef with the guy. He has made multiple videos attacking me, and I feel it is now time that I properly respond. So without further ado, let's get into the intricate details of why I hate the woman pig who calls himself DJ Akademiks. All right, now we're going to switch gears from the grooming allegations to what initially made me hate DJ Akademiks. If you guys recall, I did a video with YBC Duel back in April or May, posted it in September, and tragically, within less than 24 hours, he was down and killed. And immediately, the next day, DJ Akademiks ran to his stream to say this about me.
I will say, and I don't know this Brandon Buckingham guy, he might be like the Andrew Callahan guy who's not really into hip-hop. He's just kind of, oh, I'm just gonna be the white boy voyeuristic type of look. So he's not like Traplo Ross. Traplo Ross, you could tell, like he's at least caring about the culture somewhat.
Naturally, I was a bit pissed off that the same day YBC Duel died, this bozo goes on a stream insulting me with no knowledge of who I am, so I said this about him. So he doesn't even know me. He looks at me for 1 second and says that I'm not for the culture, I'm not a fan of rap music, and says I'm voyeuristic. What has DJ Akademiks ever done? He's always sitting behind his computer screen. He's really a fat bitch. He's a fat, drunk bitch.
I also found this video especially weird and kind of out of nowhere for Brandon, because I've never seen him discuss a topic like this on his channel before, and in most cases he seems to actively avoid discussing anything to do with grooming or which can only be made more clear by the fact that he never spoke on Zillakami.
Who died? Brandon did a hood vlog with a guy named YBC Duel, who was some sort of rapper, and his whole rap character was being like super disrespectful. His name was Mr. Disrespectful, and everyone knew him as that, and he was like went viral for like digging up his op's grave and shit. So a lot of people wanted him out of the picture, and then he did a vlog with Brandon, who has like a bunch of subscribers, and then the next day he got by somebody. So a lot of people were kind of deducing that it was this guy's fault, but I mean, to say that all the blame is on him is absurd, but it obviously exacerbated something
that he caught. Now, for a little bit of context on that, Brandon Buckingham basically got his start on YouTube by making these kind of vlog type videos, basically going this place with this famous person to do this thing. I mean, it's not really my type of content, but it is very popular online, and before long Brandon was able to gain 100,000 subscribers. And one of the main rappers that he would have on his channel was Zillakami, with the two of them doing multiple things like playing paintball, going to haunted houses, and even going to Thailand together. And while they were in Thailand, they definitely got up to some pretty illicit activity with them doing drugs.
Yes, I'm happy to explain, because I knew all of that for some reason.
together, which means that they definitely had a pretty close bond. The two of them definitely were very close friends.
I'm chronically
I know that they would try to say
online.
nowadays that it was really only a business interaction to get more attention on Zilla's music and get more attention on Brandon's videos, but I mean, you're not taking another guy on vacation if you're not at least a little bit close with them. But yet, once 2024 rolled around and Zillakami began to get allegations of grooming several Brandon Buckingham really had nothing to say about it, which honestly surprised a lot of fans because I think a lot of people thought that Brandon might try to come out and defend Zillakami, which would have been a really bad idea, but to me, I thought that he would have come out and said, you know what, I have no connection to this guy anymore, I don't endorse anything that he's getting up to, and so on and so on. But at the same time, I guess it really is only allegations by Brandon standards, so he really didn't want to say a whole lot and just kept
What
it
is
pushing.
this fucking B-roll, dude? What is happening?
Which is completely fine. I mean, if I was in his situation and I had a big company that I'm trying to run, different types of content that I'm trying to make, I probably would want to disassociate myself with anybody who could hurt that brand, especially if I was in Thailand with that person, people right alongside them. But at the same time, Zillakami really isn't all that big in the grand scheme of the internet, so Brandon probably thought it was better to completely ignore the situation and wait for it to fade away. However, now that this new DJ Akademiks video is out, it comes off as very hypocritical for him to completely ignore all the allegations that came out against Zillakami, but immediately jump down Akademiks' throat as soon as he caught one allegation. I mean, if you really look into Zillakami's allegations, they're a lot more vile than anything going on with DJ Akademiks, but I know the argument for that would be, well, Akademiks ended up getting caught on camera saying this stuff, so maybe it's a little bit more serious. However, I think we all know that's not.
But I mean, he also didn't actually do anything, technically. He was just talking. I mean, like, anything tangible, which is different.
The real reason is
I'm
that
not
Brandon
saying
only wants to
that there was
cover up
any foul play on anyone's side. I don't know. I'm just reacting, dude. I don't know what happened.
allegations when it's beneficial to him. When it's somebody that he doesn't like and he wants to get back at, he'll talk about their allegations all day, but when it's his own friend, he's not going to speak on it. However, I know people are going to say that Brandon hasn't been close to Zilla in over 2 years at this point, and that's probably the reason that he didn't speak on the allegations, but once you find out the reason that Brandon cut off Zilla in the first place, things become a whole lot more weird. Because the reason that Brandon wouldn't cut off Zilla is because he actually ended up catching his own allegations, and Zilla didn't try to defend him. Basically what happened here is that after Brandon got back from Thailand, he ended up hopping on the PKA podcast to discuss his time there, and he ended up making one inappropriate joke about hooking up with a prostitute. He basically said that he f***ed her, and then after he was done f***ing her, he ended up taking her to school. Now, he claims that he only said that because the prostitutes were smart, but a lot of people believe that he was trying to say that she was underage, which to me is a bit of a stretch, and I wouldn't really give this claim
Why
any
would you
credence.
say
In fact,
that?
This isn't the only time that Brandon Buckingham has been falsely accused.
Also, before this guy was a YouTuber, he was a teacher. I feel like that makes it a little even just more strange.
Something like this, because Nico actually previously called up Brandon Buckingham for threatening his girlfriend, which of course was completely untrue and was completely fabricated by Sneeko to try to get back at Brandon. And while Brandon didn't fabricate the allegations against Akademiks, I feel like he should know what it's like to be falsely accused of something and have somebody who's angry at you come at you with full force to try to tear you down for a simple rumor. I just feel like it's a bad way to approach these topics, and I feel like it's kind of a dangerous way to go about it. I mean, when it comes to Akademiks, everybody already hates him, so they're all going to give him a pass, but imagine if Brandon went at somebody a little bit smaller than Akademiks. If he got really pissed off at a rapper who didn't really have all that big of a platform, the guy ended up saying something kind of sus on a phone call, and then immediately Brandon made an hour-long video about why he doesn't like the guy and why the guy's a groomer. I'm not saying that Brandon would do that, but it seems like a very slippery slope coming into a video already upset, already disliking the person. It is a good thing to disclose why you don't like them, but if you can't be unbiased in the situation, then I feel like you should make the video in the first place. And don't get me wrong, this goes a lot deeper than Brandon as well. I'm really only using him as an example because of everything going on with Zillakami being kind of hypocritical, but there's many other YouTubers doing the exact same thing. It's very unfortunate that people only start to care about victims and allegations when it comes to somebody that they dislike, with their audience immediately believing it because they also are predisposed to dislike the person. But if it's somebody that you do like, you're going to defend them to the end of your days because after all, you're already predisposed to like that person, so you're not going to believe the allegations. And nowadays online, it really feels like people are lacking critical thinking skills, so they're not really able to discern if somebody is guilty of what they're being accused of or not. They simply come in with their mind already made up, and because of that, YouTubers with big platforms like Brandon have to be a lot more careful to really parse their words and be careful with it. Because if we're going to start to blur the line and start to take the meaning out of the word and groomer, it's only going to make things worse, and the next time that Brandon's accused of something stupid, people might believe it as well because they already don't like him. And I know it's very hard to be unbiased when you dislike somebody, but I myself have done it. I mean, Jumix is somebody that I really don't like. He doxed my phone number. He ended up calling me one time and telling me that he was going to kill me. But despite that, still to this day, I haven't seen any proof that he actually is guilty of the allegations that he's been accused of, and because of that, I'm not going to call him a simply because I dislike them. Being a groomer was one of the worst things that you can be accused of online, and in my opinion, one of the most vile crimes that any man could commit on the entire planet. So if you're going to accuse somebody of that, you got to make damn sure that you really have proof, or try to cover it without really getting too overly involved. But it seems like a lot of these modern day YouTubers really can't do that, and because of that, I don't think that they should cover these topics anymore. And that's personally why I stopped covering topics like this myself, because I found myself getting too personally invested, and if I'm going to be covering stuff like this, I need to remain unbiased, and I don't know if I have the ability to do that. And I would hope any other YouTuber, especially with a bigger platform than me, could also do the same thing. If you don't feel equipped to be able to cover an allegation in an unbiased way, simply don't do it. These are real people. These are real people who are getting hurt on both ends of things. So if you really want to come out against somebody, come with all the evidence, come with a clear-headed mind, and don't simply do it to attack and tear somebody down. And if you really can't put yourself in somebody else's shoes, simply do it, because the next time that you're accused of something, you're going to want people to have charitability for you. So you should have charitability for other people, unless of course they're completely caught dead to rights, like your buddy Zillakami. And on top of that, I just want to say there's way worse things that you could go at DJ Akademiks for. For example, him being very to this woman in the mall, as well as him actually having a allegation, which Brandon did cover in his video, but he never previously spoke on these two things before. He only added them on to highlight how bad DJ Akademiks is, but I feel like if you want to cover this stuff, you should have covered it when it came out. But with all that said, that's my full opinion on the situation. Definitely let me know yours in the comments below. I'm really not trying to come at Brandon or anybody specific. I'm more so just trying to make a point about the grander discourse when it comes to allegations online. So hopefully that came across.
He does
Hopefully
spell
you guys liked the
academics
video.
wrong.
Oh yeah, and before I sign off, I just want to make it clear that this won't become the main form of content that I do on this channel moving forward. I'll be right back to the documentaries after this. In fact, there'll probably be one out in a couple of days. So don't think that I'm backsliding completely into drama content. You're never going to get another one.
Okay, bet. This is a pretty good video. I kind of agree with the tone, the vibe, most of what was said here. I do think that he was being a little opportunistic to call out somebody for what they did, which was bad, but maybe not as bad as the news media was making it out to be. And they were just ready to jump on Akademiks. And this guy might not be living in glass houses and all that, or whatever the phrase is. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? If you got a video series where you go out of the country to bang with your boy who later gets outed as a sexual deviant of some sort, what I would do is simply not do any of that and be regular, normal even.